The following presentation is brought to you by Discovery Education, leading the world of digital and video learning. Discovery Education. Connect to a world of learning.
Too often, we take our bodies for granted. But under pressure, our bodies can show us how extraordinary they truly are. This complex machine grew out of millions of years of evolution. So intricate, we're still mystified by many of the things going on inside us. A hidden world, but one we can now explore in 3D as never before. Sensations keep us alive, letting us see, hear, and touch our world. They begin beneath our skin. More than 1 million tiny sensors feed us raw data. 45 miles of nerve fibers let us respond at incredible speed. Our sensations warn us of danger. When we're attacked, they're our first line of defense. They let us perform extraordinary feats. Sensations will even save our lives when we're pushed to the limits. In the teeth of a storm, a pilot guides a 7-ton machine with unerring precision. Achieving this tests the body's sensory system to the extreme. Caught on camera by the Coast Guard, 2 boys faced certain death. Just off the Oregon coast, fierce currents have stranded them, and the tide is rising.
We were out maybe quarter, half a mile, something like that. And we swam for like about an hour trying to get to a rock.
I was just getting exhausted, and I just thought I was going to die, and I thought I was going to drown. Couldn't believe it.
Their only hope is a helicopter. $9 million worth of high technology. But with winds battering the chopper, what matters more to the boys is a mechanism far more complex than any helicopter. 500,000 microsensors linked to one of the most sophisticated communication systems on the planet. You'll find it beneath your skin. We're equipped with a forest of amazing devices, including touch receptors, sensitive enough to feel a single beat of a fly's wing. Pilot Matt Gingrich needs all his sensors on full alert to save the boys.
We had about 30-knot winds, and the rocks around us. It's nerve-wracking, very nerve-wracking.
Each square inch of Matt's hands holds 600 touch sensors. Some, near the surface, record the lightest of contacts. Others lie deeper and measure harder sustained pressure. Through a web of nerves, they fire signals to Matt's brain. In fractions of a second, the brain signals motor nerves, triggering precise movement of his hands on the controls. 4,000 nerves direct each hand as he holds the chopper steady above the rocks. At the same time, Matt's other sensors are hammering him with information. He must read data from a dozen instruments and watch the horizon. He must listen to the crew, who can see what's going on below. Amid all this, Matt's sensory system must calculate and balance altitude, speed, and position. That means outperforming any computer on Earth.
Easy back. All right, either way, pick up signal.
We still don't have a machine that has the breadth to be able to do all of those different things and at the same time instantaneously is assessing the outcome of each one of those things.
All right, easy, sir, right 30, forward 15. Easy back, you're doing good.
The speed of signals in Matt's nerves is crucial to his actions.
They're right there, you're doing perfect.
It keeps the rescue swimmer from crashing into the rocks.
Hold it right there. Hold position. Hold.
What's surprising is the nerve structure that makes the speed possible. Our nerves are bundles of thin cells, some more than 3 feet long, carrying electrical signals to and from the brain. As insulation protects electrical wiring, a sleeve of fat surrounds key nerves. And it's this fat layer that keeps signals from interfering with one another, so they can rocket around Matt's nervous system at over 250 miles per hour.
Easy back and left, very easy back and left. We don't want to get the swing. You're going left.
With the rescue swimmer dangling close to the rocks, this is the trickiest part of the operation. Matt's nerves work so fast and his touch is so precise that he can make tiny adjustments without thinking. He's acting on instinct, depending on sensations working faster than we can think. It's something we all do, every day. It lets us make music, create art, and save lives.
Okay, swimmer and survivor below the aircraft. Hold. You're doing good, Mr. Davis. You're doing good.
They risked their life to save mine, and we all got out of there safe, and if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be alive right now.
This forest of touch sensors allows us to respond instantly to whatever's happening around us. But they're not evenly distributed beneath our skin. Our hands have 100 times as many sensors per square inch as the back of our legs. They're placed where we need them most. If size went by sensitivity to touch, our bodies would look something like this. Tongue and lips twice as big. The same with hands, fingers, and feet. Other senses have different patterns. Sensors for heat are most dense in our fingertips, nose, and strangely, our elbows. They play a critical role. When we're pushed to the limits, they might just keep us alive. All over the human body, every second of every day, nerves carry sensations to our brains. Even when we don't realize it, these signals control how our bodies function. When it gets hot, sensors and nerves work together to keep us alive. The deep Australian desert can reach 130 degrees. It's no place to get stranded. But that's what happened to Matthew McGough and his daughter Shannon, more than 100 miles from the nearest town. It's so hot here that a cut of beef left outdoors would roast in less than 4 hours. Yet Matthew and Shannon are still alive 8 days later. Moments after their pickup truck breaks down, their bodies go into action to hold their core temperature at about 98.6 degrees. It's all thanks to hundreds of thousands of tiny heat sensors and the cooling system they trigger. When our skin heats up beyond 93 degrees, sensors signal our brain. Its central thermostat uses other nerves to start the cooling process. 1 hour later, both of them are sweating profusely. There's no more efficient way to cool the body. Beneath our skin lie over 1 million tiny sweat glands. When we heat up, our blood vessels dilate, bringing blood and heat to the skin surface more quickly. The sweat glands extract water from the blood and release it into the open. As it evaporates, it cools us. Under ordinary conditions, we produce about 2 pints of sweat a day. But in extremes, we pump out a lot more. This guy's churning out heat as he runs, and what's more, the room temperature is being increased at the same time.
The amount of sweat you're producing, but more importantly evaporating, is just enabling you to release the amount of heat and lose the amount of heat from the body that you're producing through exercise. And we're seeing no increase now in the sweat production, which suggests to us that you're sweating at about your maximum rate.
The man's near the sweat limit, 4 pints an hour. But the water has to come from somewhere. The human body is 75% water. To survive, our vital organs need their share of that fluid. Normally, we have enough to spare for the cooling system, provided we keep the body filled up. After 4 days in the Australian desert, Matthew and Shannon have run out of water. Losing as little as 3% of the body's water can cause cramps, headaches, and disorientation. They're so dehydrated, they start to hallucinate.
The heat itself, the heat plays tricks on your mind. Trying to keep your mind on the job of surviving and getting out of things and getting things done and this, that and everything else.
Now, their bodies must respond to the water loss. To keep the body's vital organs supplied, the brain fights back with a surprising response. Overriding the body's thermostat, the brain orders the sweating to stop. The sweat glands drain dry. Next, nerves signal other parts of the body to suck water back into the heart, lungs, and kidneys. The blood thickens and coagulates. Water is absorbed from the large intestine, causing constipation. Even the eyes dry out.
We'd had a good cry together about, you know, whether we'd see Christmas or not, or whether Shannon to see her mum again or whatever, you know. And if we'd had the moisture in our body, there would have been plenty of tears, but there was none, so, you know.
I can remember how your mouth's all dry and you can't really swallow because there's nothing there to swallow with.
Your tongue's like having a brick in your mouth.
Shannon and Matthew are near collapse. But instead of cooking in the heat, the network of sensors beneath their skin has kept them alive for over a week. They survived because their bodies balanced the need for water and the need to keep cool. Their brains even trigger one final instinct. They just managed to dig in, insulating their bodies from the searing desert. It's enough to save their lives.
Just jumped up out of the ground and started waving my hands frantically. And he had lots of nice cold rainwater on board, eh? That was good. Yeah, and I grabbed this bloody great big jerry can full and upended it and went straight through us. But yeah, it was good. It was nice, cool, cold, clean rainwater. It was awesome. Yeah.
Our body's temperature responses can be the difference between life and death. Alongside heat sensors are other nerve endings programmed to deliver another crucial sensation: pain. Pain signals us to slow down. Each of us responds differently to that message. Most of us would rather do without it. But believe it or not, pain keeps you alive. Of all the sensations, the one most of us would rather not feel is pain. But pain is vital. Its function is one of the greatest mysteries of the human body, and we're now beginning to unravel it. Amy Racina is hiking alone in California's Sierra Nevada range when she stumbles. She loses her footing. dropping 60 feet onto solid granite. The fall fractures her right foot and shin bone. Her right knee disintegrates, exploding into 4 pieces. Her left leg shatters at the thigh and hip. Instantly, Amy's nervous system is on the case, firing pain signals from ripped skin and wrecked bones. Pain is there to protect us by alerting the brain to harm. Any injury triggers chemical reactions within pain sensors. They fire electrical signals into the nervous system that travel to the brain. Pain nerves work more slowly than others. Signals that convey dull throbbing pain operate so slowly that we sense the delay between an injury happening and the pain it triggers. This delay gives us precious moments to escape the cause of the pain before the full effect overwhelms us. In the brain, pain works differently from other sensations. Other senses are processed in specific areas. Sight, hearing, touch. But if you could show pain, it would look something like this. It's processed in many different parts of the brain, and the areas activated differ from one person to the next.
Pain's a perception. It's in the brain. It's the brain's interpretation of an injury. That's the reason why it's so different among different people. The analogy that I like to draw that maybe makes it a little clearer is 2 people looking at a painting. One person says it's beautiful. They're willing to spend $20 million to buy it. The other person looks at it, doesn't get it, and just walks right by. The point is that pain has an emotional component to the experience, and it's the variation in the emotional component that will color and alter the way a person perceives pain.
So we all feel pain differently. It depends on who we are and what we're doing. As she wakes up from her fall, Amy Racina expects to be in agony. But in extremes, our nervous system can perform an amazing trick.
I looked down at my legs. There was a huge gaping hole where there used to be a right knee. I couldn't so much as move either leg. But surprisingly, there was no pain.
The damage registers, but not the discomfort. At impact, Amy's pain sensors start firing. They don't run straight to the brain. They go via the spinal cord. As they enter the vertebra, they pass through a gate. Buried in tissue with the consistency of jelly is the meeting of 2 nerves known as a synapse. Jumping a tiny gap, the signal passes from nerve to nerve and on up the spinal column toward the brain. These junctions have a special property. They can be turned off. It gives the brain amazing power. To suppress pain, the brain orders the release of endorphins. They flow down to the junctions in the spinal cord, where they smother the synapse, stopping the pain signals from jumping across. The result? No sense of pain. These natural painkillers are stronger than morphine. And whenever the pressure is on, the brain can unleash their power.
Soldiers who've been shot in battlefield, and they don't report immediate pain, even though there's clearly a bullet wound. There's bullets flying over their head, their life's in danger. The brain is appraising the situation and saying now is not the time to experience pain.
Amy's brain knew that feeling pain wouldn't help her. Blocking it might give her precious time to act.
The first thing that I did was to treat the more obvious injuries. The first danger was that I would simply bleed to death from the open wound that was my right knee. So I poured antibiotic ointment, or actually hydrogen peroxide, on my knee and bandaged it up, tying it as tightly as I dared because I had to stop the bleeding.
Amy has fallen far from any help. To have a hope of rescue, she needs to get herself off the mountain and closer to a trail. But as she crawls, pain begins to creep in.
I remember one time in particular when I was working my way over and around a pool of water, and I shifted my hip, and the pain was so bad I thought, I'm going to pass out. But my mind was still in control, and I knew if I passed out at that point, I would shortly drown. So my mind remembers that there was quite a bit of pain, but it never took control of my body.
Battered, bleeding, Amy crawls for 2 days. Throughout, she keeps her mind off the pain thanks to the endorphins unleashed by her nervous system. When rescuers do find her, Amy relaxes. The endorphins stop, and pain floods her body.
The moment at which I truly felt the pain was when I was loaded into the stretcher. It was absolutely excruciating. It was the kind of mind-numbing, screaming, horrible pain where I had no ability to focus on anything but how bad it was.
Had she been feeling this way all along, Amy never would have made it down the mountain. But by blocking pain, her nervous system helped her survive. Eight operations later, Amy's walking again. Her story is amazing, but it's not unique. If the situation demands, anyone's nervous system can shut out pain. But the body doesn't always try to neutralize pain. Sometimes, our nervous system makes us hurt more. And it's a sensation that might just save your life. The sensation of pain is often the only way we'll know that our body's damaged. Pain serves as our central alarm system. Working in an outbuilding on his farm, David Edgar has no idea that he's inches from one of America's deadliest spiders, the brown recluse. These tiny spiders attack humans only rarely. But today, David is unlucky. At first, he doesn't notice the bite. A day later, though, he begins to feel pain.
I woke up in the morning, got out of bed, put my jeans on, and I just felt something on my leg. It was kind of burning, kind of hurting. And I got to looking on the back of my leg. It's a big old red spot with a little black spot in the center of it. And boy, it hurt. Over the weekend, I was miserable. I couldn't sleep. It was just constant burning pain.
But David's pain wasn't from the spider bite. It was his body working to save his life. Whenever our skin is broken, whether it's a spider bite or just a simple cut, the body fights back quickly. First, it sends enforcer patrols of white blood cells to clean the wound. Then the surrounding tissue swells, irritating nerve endings. The area becomes inflamed and painful. Here, the injury itself has not created the pain. It's the body's reaction to it. And it happens for a good reason. The pain of inflammation is another way our nervous system defends us. It's a safety perimeter, the bodily version of the tape police officers put up after an accident. The tape warns drivers to stay clear. The pain we get from inflammation warns us to protect the area or do something about it. And if you ignore a brown recluse's spider bite, the result can be a nasty surprise. An ugly, ulcerated wound, even gangrene. For David Edgar, his nervous system's response warned him about the bite just in time to get treatment. Whether it's the immediate pain of broken bones or the delayed pain of inflammation, it's there for the same reason, to protect the human body.
Pain is one of the most fundamental, primal experiences that we have. Without pain, we wouldn't survive as a human species. It's so bad because it's so good.
The surprise is that pain sensors are working for us all the time, without us knowing. They make us shift in our chairs while sitting, toss and turn at night. They're why, when walking, we instinctively land on different parts of our feet. Subtle pain signals constantly alert the body to make adjustments. Otherwise, we'd stress bones and blister skin. Pain can be terrible, but living without the sensation is even worse.
Tell me if you feel that vibrating. Feel it?
Honestly, no.
Carol Sachs is one of 21 million Americans with diabetes, a disease that leaves too much sugar in the blood.
What about here? Feel it here?
Barely.
Excess blood sugar can damage nerves, leaving parts of the body unable to sense touch, temperature, or discomfort.
Nothing. No.
If you can't see an injury or feel it, you won't know you need to treat it.
If your sensation isn't good, what you need to do is always check your feet.
Anyone without nerves to transmit the sensation of pain must be extra careful. The smallest wound could become infected, with inflammation spiraling out of control before the patient realizes it. The nervous system is essential to who we are. Without sensations like pain, our bodies would soon fall apart. But this massive wiring works in mysterious ways. Nerves cause us to get hot under the collar, to wake up in a cold sweat, and to find ourselves betrayed by our own bodies.
Do you intend to be completely truthful with me?
Sensations tell us about the world around us. But under certain circumstances, it can work the other way around. Our nerves tell the world about what's going on inside us. It might be the cheeks flushing with embarrassment, or a voice choking with emotion. Our physical reactions can reveal what we truly feel. And some think they can show when someone's lying.
Typically, when a person tells a lie, they begin to sweat. I'm sure we've all seen the 1940s and 50s interrogation movies where the person in the hot seat has a sweaty brow or a sweaty upper lip, or perhaps sweat dripping down from their sideburns.
All right, if you lean forward in the chair, put your arms out in front of you like you're going to dive into a swimming pool, this will go around your stomach.
Jack Tremarco uses physical sensations to probe for truth. His primary tool? The lie detector, or polygraph.
And this cuff is just like the one that the doctor...
Polygraph works very similar to any other biofeedback instrument. It simply records deviations from a person's physiological norm, such as someone's blood pressure going up and then coming back down, or perhaps a decrease or an increase in pulse rate, or sweat gland activity.
Are you sometimes known as Bobby?
Yes.
A polygraph examiner knows what to look for when questioning someone.
Do you intend to be completely truthful with me?
Yes.
Any deviation from normal could signal deception. Our body can give us away.
And are you sure that I won't try to trick you on this test?
Yes.
We may think we're being cool, but when we're stressed, our network of nerves starts to prepare our body for action, as if it's under attack. It's a response that harks back to our ancient ancestors. Fight or flight. It starts by triggering your stress hormone, adrenaline. Your heart rate increases to pump more blood to your muscles, as if you were about to go into battle. Your breathing deepens as vital oxygen reaches your muscles. And you begin to sweat. The body cools so that you won't overheat when rushed into action. The brain won't let us stop this survival strategy. These basic nervous functions are automatic. That's why a polygraph can often uncover a liar. But some nervous functions we can control. And that opens up possibilities which could help revolutionize medicine.
How are you doing, Steve?
Ashley Goodman isn't your everyday dentist.
Today, because
He uses hypnosis to control pain.
Now, what I'm going to want you to do is be able to form a mental picture.
Today, he'll be drilling out a tooth to replace a crown with no anesthetic or drugs whatsoever.
Oh, it's so... Pain is perception. Reality is perception. So what we can do is alter their perception of reality.
As the hypnosis begins, Dr. Goodman completely changes Steve Fine's perception of his world.
I want you to notice wave upon wave of relaxation with each breath you take. Letting out the breath, the tensions of the day down still deeper. The most comfortable, secure,
For Steve, things are about to get very weird. In only minutes, Steve has stopped thinking he's in a dentist's chair.
Isn't necessary for your mind to stay here. Your body will need to stay here and be treated, but your mind can go wherever you'd like.
Hypnosis transports him to an imaginary playroom full of toys and gadgets.
Down deeper, down.
When the drilling begins, Steve thinks it's toys buzzing.
And what I'd like you to do now is just open your mouth, and in the background, you'll hear noises of the electronic toys. There's some of the toys now.
Everything you're now seeing is for real. Normally, no one could endure such treatment without feeling pain. But Steve has been feeling something completely different. The theory is that hypnosis acts on the brain's emotional response to discomfort. Brain activity can change temporarily, so we process pain signals as if they were a different emotion. As the tooth enamel shatters, pain sensors are sending signals along the nerves. But inside Steve's brain, messages that would normally be received as pain have now become pleasant sensations. After 45 minutes, Dr. Goodman brings his patient out of hypnosis.
At the count of 3, awaken refreshed and alert. 1, 2, 3. How did you feel?
Fine.
Good. We're all finished.
The hypnosis is a success. It completely fools Steve's nervous system.
I remember, laying back in the chair and then just kind of feeling some slight sensation, and other than that, everything was fine. It was nice, very relaxed feeling.
The effect lingers. Steve's mind will continue to interpret the pain as pleasurable until the tooth heals. Hypnosis shows that the mind can be as powerful as any anesthetic. But science is catching up with this centuries-old technique, even teaching us how to bend our nervous systems to our will. Usually, we can't control the sensations that link our bodies with the outside world. But science may be about to change that. 9 years ago, while shooting a commercial, Laura Tibbetts fell from a horse. She recovered, but she still suffers from chronic pain in her shoulder.
I've had 2 surgeries, done tons of physical therapy, tried acupuncture, done massage therapy. It becomes a full-time job just trying to manage your pain when all you really want to do is move on and go back to your life.
Laura is still looking for ways to overcome pain that never goes away. Now, she may be able to take control of her own sensation. The Shaolin monks of China are famous for fighting skills and acrobatics, but above all, for their ability to somehow manage their senses. Does this really not hurt, or do they just not mind the pain? To prepare themselves for their grueling acts, the monks use one of the oldest forms of pain control, meditation.
最主要是静中 you have to focus 100%. We need willpower to channel our qi, our spiritual energy. When we meditate, we channel this spiritual energy throughout our body.
Meditation starts by changing how the body works. The heart slows, pumping less blood. The muscles relax. Relaxed muscles means less tension, which means less pain. But the strangest effect occurs in the brain. Astonishingly, although the brain is still alert, meditation lessens the emotional reaction to pain. It's like turning down the volume. So when pain sensations hit, they have little effect. That's how the monks can tolerate what for anyone else would be extraordinary pain. Now, technology could help Laura achieve these same results as she thinks away her pain. An advanced MRI scanner shows what sensations look like deep within the brain. Because pain activity occurs all around the brain, it's hard to know where to look. But pain creates strong emotions that offer a map of this mystifying sensation.
These pictures don't show pain. That's an important distinction to make. Much like any study that we show where neuroimaging of love or fear or hate we're not actually showing those experiences in the brain. What we're doing is we're showing the brain regions that play a role in that experience of pain.
Perhaps by watching for activity in this region, we can find a way to control the sensation of pain. Laura watches her brain working in real time as the scanner charts the emotional activity that her pain causes.
We can focus on a specific region of their brain, and we can process that brain activity level and send that back to them so that they can see their own brain activity in real time, much like a fighter pilot would see a cockpit display.
Brain scans are hard to read, so they represent the activity in the form of a flame. The bigger the flame, the more activity in this crucial area. Laura's job is to shrink the flame, using only her mind.
Okay, Laura, we're now going to move on to getting the brain imaging scans and having you focus on decreasing your pain.
As if she were isolating a muscle at a gym, Laura uses the flame to target the appropriate part of her brain. To think the pain away, Laura's devised ingenious mental exercises.
To get the pain down, I would sometimes resort to stopping and thinking just what on my body doesn't hurt, and then focus in on that location of my body and try to really clear my mind. I also would imagine little people coming in, marching and taking the pain and scooping it out, literally removing it.
The results are astonishing. Patients trying this method say their pain has shrunk by nearly half on average. That's about as much as many pain drugs achieve.
People can learn how to control a specific region of their brain if they see it on a moment-by-moment basis. And that was what was exciting about this, and that for the first time we showed that people can actually tap into a specific region of the brain and learn to control it. And it leads to a specific change in behavior, because that's never been done before.
Someday, this technique might also help treat illnesses such as depression or addiction. If it works, we may all be able to take as much control of our sensations as the Shaolin monks. The human body is quite literally a bundle of nerves. They transmit sensations that keep our bodies in harmony. They give us pleasure and alert us with pain, always at the ready to trigger our bodies into action. We're still learning the true potential of our senses. The further we can push their limits, the greater the superhero within all of us, the human body.